Joining us today is Arshi Ayub, CEO of Trust with Trade Group. Arshi, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much. I'm incredibly happy to be here. Thank you.
So before we start, can you tell us a little bit about Trust with Trade Group and about yourself?
Yes, so my name is Arshi Ayub Mohamed Zaveri. I spearhead the Trust with Trade organization in the UAE. Additionally, I'm board of several foundations, family offices, advising royal family members, and of course, primarily dealing into the oil and energy, manufacturing, renewable energy, sustainability and biotechnology as a group holding. And we're also focused on deploying equity investments into organizations and also into mentoring young startups and helping companies to be able to establish and find the relevant local partners in the UAE to commence business relationships.
Great. So since the relationship between Israel and the UAE are relatively new, can you tell us a little bit about what are your interests in the Israeli market and in the tech industry specifically?
Well, firstly, I'd like to congratulate everybody involved because the Abraham Accords have really struck a new string of hope and optimism amongst both the nations who are looking to establish strong relationships locally and internationally. So really, I think it's a wonderful moment for everybody involved, and we are heavily looking to collaborate and partner with organizations that are focused on technology, upcoming fintech, sustainability, and also into specific sectors, technology in the pharmaceuticals. So that is also a particularly budding interest, and we are hopeful that we can provide the right kind of partnership, collaborations, and relationships on ground as an organization, and ourselves also invest in a couple of these companies where we may deem fit.
Okay, and what kind of collaboration do you see yourself creating with Israeli companies? Is it a business collaboration? Are you going to invest in some companies?
Well, we are looking at both. So definitely investment is something that we are very keen to once the companies have some sort of a local representation in the UAE, which positively a lot of companies are exploring now in the entities in Dubai and Abu Dhabi also. So we are really hopeful that these companies can come forward, create their local licenses and documentation to be able to commence business relationships and also actively have fundraising and capital deployment from local partners.
That's good to hear. Thank you. The UAE is very active and very advanced when it comes to energy and fintech, and you mentioned it with Trust with Trade Group. Can you tell us a little bit about the trends that we're about to see in the near future in these fields?
Well, definitely. I think UAE is one country that has positively adapted to a lot of technology integrations that has come internationally to us from a lot of countries that we have positive relationships with. And of course, in the times to come, we're really looking at further adaptations and upcoming trends in artificial intelligence, virtual reality, in augmented levels of AI as well, and definitely upcoming fintech, positive technologies in sustainability, because we need some sort of really cutting edge technologies that need to come forward in defense, in pharmaceutical, in sustainability. And we're hopeful, I think this will only continue because this country in the Middle East and also in the international community has really created that individual unique way of adapting tech, because you may have the tech, but the adaptation of the tech is equally important, and which I think UAE has been at the fore of. So definitely, I think I seek great opportunity in artificial intelligence, robotics, big data, all of it, machine learning, and definitely these sectors will continue to thrive in the times to come.
That's very interesting. Thank you. What tips and advice do you have for Israelis arriving to your country for the first time and seeking to start business there?
Well, I like I said, we're really welcoming of all the Israelis who are wishing to come and have a relationship with the UAE. Definitely, we're very welcoming of each one of you, and to be able to set up businesses, guide them locally, connect them with the correct stakeholders, and set up their local base, which I think the country is very actively doing. And the idea is for you to be able to penetrate the market best for any company, entrepreneur, innovator, or any large conglomerate. My advice would be connecting with the right people locally would require you have local documentation. So feel free to set up licenses and local bases over here in the UAE, because that's where you can gather maximum investor interest and also business interest. So that is something that one should keep in mind while coming to the UAE. setting up their local documentation and bases. And I think this country is definitely very fast in terms of setting up those basic documentation and paperwork, and they will be able to penetrate the market in a much better capacity if they do that. So that would be my quick tip for every company, every innovator, every young startup, and also any large conglomerates.
Great, thank you. But any mistakes that we should avoid? Maybe something that the Israelis are more prone to than others?
Well, I don't think very specifically. I think once you develop local relevant documentation and paperwork, you're able to understand the market better and connect with the correct stakeholders. We as a group company are also into advisory services for these companies to connect with the correct stakeholders. So I think we're more than happy to connect with each Israeli company, and in our capacity, able to connect you with the correct stakeholders, local partners, relevant legal counsel, relevant service providers, business providers. We're very happy to do that.
Okay, last but not least, do you think the UAE will be a gate to the entire Arab world for the Israeli businessmen?
Well, definitely. I think this has really, like I said, sparked a stream of optimism amongst all nations to come forward and sort of reinstate that peace and stability that has been initiated. And of course, I think this can be the flag bearer of a lot of relationships that are in the pipeline to come.
Arshi Ayub, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure having you with us.
Thank you so much. The pleasure is mine. Thank you very much.